Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Fairy Dear. This is an indie visual novel with some horror elements, and I believe released at the end of 2022. I saw this game on Steam earlier this year, and I actually started playing it in my own time, and I thought it was quite interesting. I never actually got around to finishing the story, though. From what I remember, it is about a small village, surrounded by a really long forest, and apparently there are creatures in the forest that you do not want to approach, and especially at night. So, I just remember playing this in my own time. I remember wanting to play an indie visual novel, and I just never got around to finishing it. I remember I was intrigued with the story. I really enjoyed it, so I thought since Slay the Princess has already concluded, I thought I would continue on and play Fairy Dear. Before we start a new save, however, I just wanted to remind all of you that my dark fantasy original English light novel, The Protector Volume 1, releases January 10th, 2025, available on paperback, ebook, and audiobook. The first 7 pages are available to read on my Facebook. I will try and make them available on other platforms as well, so you can check it out and see if you like it. And yeah, pre-order yourself a copy, or just pick up a copy when it becomes available. I will be reminding everybody the day it comes out, and consistently afterwards. It is a passion project of mine, something I've been working very hard towards, and I am in the midst of writing Volume 2. And yeah, I am keen to see everyone enjoy the story. But for now, let's get into this story, Fairy Dear. Now hopefully if I press start, it won't load up one of my old save files. I have 3 here, so let's hope it doesn't load up any of them. You just had to do everything last minute, hadn't you? Pipe down, as long as I make it in time. You're not helping me stay calm. Let's not fight over this, boys. Come on, Arsenic, we're just fooling around. I wanted to fire a witty comeback at Yura, but I held back. Veronica didn't like it when we acted like this, even though we were never serious about it. At least for today, I need to keep myself together. The flow of time felt unbearably slow. I was prohibited from pacing around the room, so there was nothing left for me to do but sit and wait. I started tapping the table with my fingers out of boredom. I wonder, how long will it take before I make someone mad? Well? Don't fret, the wood is a good pilot. The wood is good pilot. You'll bind your Veronica on time. It sounds plain wrong when you put it like that. I mean, I, for one, will never get married. Not in this place. His hands stopped moving for a moment. I just want to check, make sure this... Hold on, wait, history. Yeah, this is the start, yeah? This is, oh, no. This is just, an odd place to dump me back into. Hold on. Help me go back. Go back. Wait. Let me return. Let me return, please, game. I'll save if you want me to. Okay. Can I go? Okay. Sure. Wait. That was weird. It wouldn't let me go back. Okay. His hand stopped moving for a moment. I couldn't tear my eyes from the elegant wooden ring. It emanated a faint glow in the lamp's muted light, as if calling out to me. Is this one for me or Veronica? Yura insisted that the rings should be different, but he never told us which one we'll get. The one was a darker shade. This one was a darker shade, for example. I wouldn't say that if I were you. You know what fate has in store. Yura didn't reply. He simply continued polishing the ring. Arsenic sighed, squinted, and looked out the window. I became curious. Despite having countless stories, some of which the old man had told us multiple times, he never really spoke about his personal life, even though he should also have that type of story in abundance. And you were married before, Arsenic? Of course, to a woman named Tonya. We lived in the village to the west from here. We built our home together. The memory is still vivid. A tiny house, not enough space for even just the two of us. It was a way back. He stared into space, his body swaying slightly, which meant he retreated into himself again. This has been happening more and more as of late. And where's your wife now? What? Ah, well, you know, dead. He clenched his fist so he wouldn't see how hard his fingers were trembling. Yura and I couldn't help but notice anyway, but we remained silent, like we always did. The forest took her. Yura heaved a deep sigh. And here you were talking about uncertainty. We all know our fate. First, this forest will take the ones we love, and then us too. He gritted his teeth and slowly put the ring in front of himself. Whatever. The moment we catch that bastard, everything will change. We'll go to a place where no one will die before their time, and there will be plenty of time to build a family. That's enough, boys. At least for today. Let's forget about our business. You know, Arsenic, the deer would be a good wedding gift. You wish. We're humble people here, as are the gifts we bring. Here. Yura held out 2 small wooden rings to me. They were smooth, warm to the touch. They also felt unexpectedly heavy, as if they carried the giant weight of responsibility I was about to accept. Thanks. They're amazing. I know. I spent a whole week picking the right wood. I hope Veronica likes them too. I didn't know Yura's real age. He was probably older than 30, though. He never liked talking about himself, so I never thought of casually asking him about it. Right now, this grown man looked like a happy child that brought a handcrafted gift to his parents. I stepped closer and put my hand on his shoulder. We'll find that deer, and we'll get the hell out of here, I promise. Sure, I never doubted that. Why the long face, Arsenic? It's just, Yura made these wonderful rings, and I have nothing to give to you. The amulet is still not finished. You've arranged the ceremony, made the table, decorated the place, brought out your tincture. It's not a tincture. Who cares? You've already done plenty, no need to be hard on yourself. Fine, fine. Can't an old man be grouchy once in a while? Yura stretched. His eyes started darting around the room before stopping on the small kitchen. Hey, Pops, maybe we can bring out another bottle of your stuff as a present for the newlyweds. No, what we have is enough. Actually, it's a good idea. I have something special in store for occasions like this. Arsenic chuckled and I stared at the clock. 15 more minutes. Well, is it time? Sit down and be quiet. Seeing the bride before the wedding is a bad omen. We'll be going, though. Yep. Yura stood up and scooped up the rings from my palm. Don't fret, I'll be sure to return them. The cabin's door closed with a squeak, and I was left all alone. The second hand was in no rush to make its rotations, as if stalling for time. Tick-tock, tick-tock. I wonder, will things be different? We've been together for 4 years now, haven't we? Yeah, seems like it. Will my and Veronica's lives change after the marriage? Will it make even a single thing better? Of course it will. It must. Why do all of this otherwise? The clock struck 5. It was my cue. A colossal tree, my wedding altar, spread its thirsty paws before me. Hidden amongst the dark emerald branches of the spruce were countless colourful ribbons. They peeked out timidly from between the dense rows of needles. Veronica stood at the foot of the tree. She was about to finish decorating it. She's got massive hands. I'm sorry. I just realized, damn, she's got a massive hand. The last sky-colored ribbon flashed in the hands of my future wife, only to then immediately disappear on a layer of green, tied in a reef knot to a branch. The last ribbon being blue was a good omen. Arsenic told us it signified a peaceful life. Tiny conferrious needles stung Veronica's hands. She would shudder every now and then, but never stopped courageously fixing the ribbons that got tangled in the branches. She tied them tight, making sure the mighty tree looked presentable. Rituals like this were not uncommon in my village. My mom would often take me to watch them, and always said that the woman's lot in these parts was enduring the stings of fate, while forging the comfort of her home with her own two hands. Decorating the oldest spruce in the forest was only the beginning, a silly symbol of the difficulties that lie ahead. The forest was pointy and dangerous, but we've already been through so much. We can overcome this too. A single thought prevented me from enjoying this day. Our love for each other grew here in the dark forest. I knew I couldn't make Veronica truly happy. Not here. I felt an unpleasant tinge in my chest, but I did my best to ignore it. I shouldn't let sorrow into my heart today. Today, there was only Veronica and our future family happiness, as small as it may be. Everything else didn't really matter. Ah, how gorgeous. Arsenic stood under the tree, getting ready to deliver a speech. I walked towards Veronica and looked at her without saying a word. She was also silent, as if it was our first meeting. My heart was beating like crazy. I've never been this excited in a while. Dear Misha and Veronica. His voice trembled. A lone tear of pure joy slid down his face and got lost inside one of its many wrinkles. I couldn't take my eyes off my bride. The hem of her snow-white dress swayed slightly in the cold wind. I tried talking Arsenic out of this ceremony multiple times. I told him that Veronica might catch a cold and we'd be left helpless without her. I also pointed out that he's in no condition to do this much either. Yura should have just carved out the rings for us, and that's it. Yet, right now, I thanked David Arsenovic on the inside for being so persistent. Nika looked stunning. Today you stand before the wisest tree in the forest, ready to bind your fates in the tightest knot that will hold until the end of your lives. Family life is tough, and you need to be prepared to face it. The forest knows no mercy, so you should never let your guard down. Who knows when you'll need to fight or flee? The old man dropped his usual bits of cold, hard truth, plunging us into despair, even on an occasion like this. Be careful. Remember, the most important thing that you have right now is each other. No matter what happens in these dark times, stay human to the very end. The forest will try to subdue you, but you should never give up. Stay strong. It's easier to do that together. Veronica, my dear. He turned to the bride, and she straightened up. You're a good girl. I know how much you love Misha, and how much you're ready to do for him. But don't let him completely overshadow you. Be yourself. That's what we always loved about you. Veronica's lips started quivering. Thank you, David Arsenovic. Misha. I gathered all my courage and looked into his bottomless brown eyes. He used them to see right through us, sometimes telling us things we didn't want to hear. Yet today I wasn't afraid of hearing the truth. I was sure that the wise arsenic knew what we had to do in order to spend a long, happy life together. Never leave Nika behind. You will always have your eyes set on your goal, Misha. The beautiful tomorrow is nice and all, but there's one thing I cannot stress enough. Here and now, you're in the forest, and you need to protect your wife. Never forget that. I silently nodded and turned back to my wife. Nika. I cleared my throat, as I did in real life. Actually, I'm going to take a sip of my drink. Alright. Pepsi Max. Drink of champions? Thoughts that coursed through my mind refused to form words. I swear, I'll always be by your side. I'll do everything I can to make you happy. You don't deserve to live in this dump. I'll catch the deer and take us to the beautiful tomorrow. You'll see. We have a bright future ahead of us. I promise. I wanted to say more, but my tongue got stuck to my palate, and all the words I was looking for left my brain. It was Nika's turn to recite her pledge, but she was silent. She looked at me timidly, as if my words scared her. I swear to be a good wife. She shuffled her feet. We will have an amazing family. We will raise the most wonderful children. We'll be happy. Did you hear? Kaz. That's what I'm going with. I may look up how to pronounce it after the episode, but for now, it's Kaz. David Arsenovic suddenly tugged on a spruce branch. Wilted needles fell to the ground. Do you approve of this pair's pledge? A powerful gust of wind bent the mighty spruce, making it creak. It looked like a nod. The oldest living being of the forest became the witness to our wedding. Yura rushed to present us with the rings. Here, this one is from me. Wish you all the best, newlyweds. A usual smirk adorned his face, but something glistened in the edges of his eyes. I carefully put the ring of lighter shade on Veronica's finger. I love you, Nika. I love you, Misha. She threw herself into my embrace. I squeezed my wife tight. She overshadowed the rest of the world around me. There was nothing else but us, consummating our union under a massive spruce. Fairy dear. The echo of his shout rumbled amongst the ancient trees. Bless us and take us to the beautiful tomorrow. 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 If only you could hear our plea and come out from the forest right this moment. You know, that deer would be a great wedding gift. It's so cold here. I gently scooped my newlywed wife into my arms. Let's go home. We slowly walked away, leaving Itkaz to wrestle with her green ribbon dress branches. So I might have been wrong. I think it's not a village. I actually think it's just these four in this cabin. I swear I remember more people, though. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm misremembering. Well, where are the bottles, Pops? Be patient. Keep your hands to yourself. The first fill goes to the newlyweds. I didn't listen to them. Just kept staring at Veronica. She returned my gaze bashfully, as if we've just met. Bashfully is a good expression, I keep forgetting that one. I placed her on the ground with care. She took a single step back. The ongoing argument turned into background noise. The only person left in the cabin for me was Nika. Oh ho ho, is this all you're cooking, Pops? Of course. How could I let the bride stand in front of the stove? Quit standing around, help me with the pot. Do you feel any different? She nodded. I don't know. I mean, something did change, that's for sure. It's just I can't figure out what exactly. But things are better now, right? I nodded. I couldn't force out anything else. I don't know, maybe I was expecting some sort of immediate effect, like the forest becoming brighter all of a sudden. Nika suddenly grabbed my hand, the flowery aroma wafting from her hair mixed with the thick smells of the cabin. I felt dizzy. This was so intoxicating that I felt drunk without a single drop of that tincture. We can do it. We will be happy. I leaned forward instead of replying. My eyes closed the moment before our lips touched. Her lips, soft and hot, met with mine, dry and chapped. Nika's hair was all over my face. Hey, you're not supposed to kiss without a toast. I guess he didn't heed to the first fill warning. Come, sit. Pops won't let me. Fuck. Oh my god, guys, I'm sorry. I'm already drunk. Pops won't let me drink without you. Arsenic, haven't I told you to not overdo it? You've cooked for a whole platoon. It's alright. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It needs to be done properly. He's right. The bottle standing next to Yura was already half empty. Listen to your elders. You need to cherish every moment inside the forest, and things like this are even more special. It's the best we can get. Eat, drink, and don't worry about a thing. You can afford it once in your life. My head was buzzing with anger. It wanted me to think, plan, mull over about the deer. It's almost time to check our traps. We also need to count how much food we have left. We need to check on the garden as well. I glanced at Veronica. She was already chewing on something while talking to Arsenic. My lips widened in a smile. She's so adorable. I only needed a single glance at her for all my worries to disappear, leaving only tenderness in my heart. Yura is right. Today is for me and her. We can get some rest. Besides, this piece of meat looks really appetizing. Plate after plate, glass after glass. The party was getting hotter and hotter. Arsenic stopped standing up before delivering another of his toasts. Yura was annihilating all of the food on his side of the table, and Veronica leaned on my shoulder. You know what, Misha? You're a good guy. I hope your life gets better after this marriage. It surely can't get any worse. He chuckled. Right. I realize I never asked you about this. Where exactly are you from? A village in the north, a couple weeks away from here. That's a long trip you took, straight into the forest's asshole. It's okay, we'll pay off the moment we catch the deer. Arsenic croaked and tried to stand up, swaying. Alright, time to clean the table. It's getting late. I'll help. No, not today. Get some rest. The old man scooped up a mountain of dishes and strolled towards the kitchen. Veronica followed him with her eyes. He didn't listen to you after all. Of course he didn't. If Arsenic decides on something, it's no use trying to persuade him. Nika leaned in again and kissed me. Quickly, bashfully. I couldn't help but smile. You're acting like it's our first date. It's just you're so cute. How can I resist kissing you? Come here. I embraced her. I could feel her quick heartbeat and her warm skin. Veronica buried her face in my neck, tickling it with her breath. Hey, you could have at least waited before we went to bed. Yura? She pouted and turned around. Oh, I'm sorry. Can I steal your hubby for a second? I'll bring him back soon, I promise. What's going on? Nothing. Just wanted to talk. I wanted Nika to spot me from going so badly right now. It was late, my head was heavy as a leaden ball after eating and drinking so much, and I felt so good in my wife's embrace. Fine, I'll go help David Arsenovic then, or he'll end up overworking himself. She softly let me go before squeezing my hand for a swift moment. I'll be waiting. I begrudgingly stood up. Well, what did you want to talk about? Let's go outside. My head stops working in this stuffy place. The outside met us with the cold night and myriad of sounds. The forest stood in front of us like a black wall. It creaked, whistled, and crackled as if taking uneven, heavy breaths. It's beautiful in its own way. Yeah, right. Yura knew what the forest was like better than anyone else. Countless deadly creatures writhed there. Beautiful like this is better admired from afar. That's true. He swayed back and forth slightly, biting his lower lip. You're one brave guy, starting a family here and all. He kept repeating this throughout the weeks of wedding preparations. We were family from the start. The rings, the ceremony, all of that was for something else. Yeah, I know why you decided to stage all of that shit. Feeling any different, by the way? Not yet. Some time needs to pass, I guess. Right. It didn't work, huh? He breathed in through pursed lips with a loud sound. I've already told you. You can try to ignore the forest all you want with your weddings, gardens, and whatever the fuck else you come up with. But it'll take its dues eventually. The only way out is catching the deer. Yes, catching the deer. Too bad we haven't even seen it once. We saw the tracks. It's not enough. Sometimes I think that believing in those old wives' tales was a mistake. Arsenic believes in them, and he's yet to be wrong in my experience. I mean, I'm sure the deer does exist. It's just, how long have we already been scouring the forest? At least 4 months. That's right. And what else do you suggest? Spending our entire lives in the forest? I refuse. Pardon me? We need to find that deer and get the hell out. Yura shook his head, deep in thought. Let's take a walk. A walk? It's getting dark, and Veronica is waiting. We'll be quick. 20 minutes at most. The forest hissed menacingly at me. I was taught to fear the thicket at night like the plague. But since Yura is telling me to go, it must be safe. I can trust him gently. The only thing breaking the anxious silence were the sounds of cracking branches under our feet. I tried my best to keep up with Yura. If you ever get left behind in the forest, you're as good as gone. Besides, he was carrying a flashlight, and I forgot to bring mine, intoxicated by the happiness in the tincture.
Wait up.
He froze, listening intently to the forest's sounds. The night thicket descended into complete silence, with the exception of barely audible cracking of the old trees somewhere in the distance. The flashlight's cone slid to the left. Something hooted, flapped its wings, and disappeared into the night. I shuddered and looked at Yura.
False alarm. Let's go.
Just a bird? He nodded and continued walking.
Yeah, it was just a bird. Don't worry.
He moved a spruce branch to the side and went out to a trail of his own making. As soon as I stepped after him, the branch sprang back and struck my face with its needles, making me wince from pain. I froze, put my hand against my cheek.
Hey, Misha, you alright?
I got blinded by a flash of light.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were further away.
He burst out laughing after seeing my face. I immediately wanted to fling something heavy at him to make him stop.
Shh! The creatures will hear you.
Why are you so on edge?
Do you think I'd drag you into the forest right now if there was a chance we could get eaten? Nobody will touch us. Here, take the flashlight.
He formed a megaphone around his lips with his hands.
Hey, you ugly bastards! Free dinner here, served fresh.
I knew that Yura wouldn't lie, but my insides still shrank in horrific anticipation. Nothing happened, just crickets chirping somewhere in the grass.
See? We're fine.
He grinned and continued walking.
Give me some light. We're almost there.
Yura didn't lie. Soon enough, the lines of trees became thinner, and the carpet, made of wilted leaves, turned into soft grass. It was a small glade, divided down the middle by a stream that disappeared into the forest's depths. I've never been in this place. We usually hunted to the north of this area. That area was safer and had more game.
What's this? A stream. Have you gone blind or something?
Let me rephrase it. Why did you bring me here?
There's something I want to tell you.
He squatted near the water's edge.
This is a special place. Thicket creatures never go past it.
A border?
Something like that. Want to have a sip?
I followed Yura's example, knelt down, dipped my hands in the water, and immediately yanked them away. It was cold as hell.
The water's magical, by the way.
Magical? I raised my brow in suspicion, but Yura just ignored it and continued his story.
It took me a while to realize what this place actually was. One day, I was running away from a creature this huge.
Running away from a creature? Weird. He never told us about getting into danger in the forest. Actually, it wasn't surprising, for Veronica and Arsenic would have died from worry.
I was running with all I could, and I thought the end was nigh. But then this stream just popped out of nowhere. I leaped across it and looked back. The ugly thing was still standing on the other side of it, confused. It clearly saw me, but couldn't step into the water. After that happened, I went and provoked more forest creatures.
He swore through his teeth.
And not a single bastard dared cross this stream. I almost got caught once, but then tripped and fell into the water. I swallowed some of it and saw the deer.
Huh? You saw the deer and you didn't tell us?
Don't pout. You should know nothing in this hole can be trusted. Think about it. How long could we last if we followed a false lead? We'd get eaten whole a long time ago.
Alright. So what happened next?
Nothing. I tried drinking from the stream some more. I heard the clanging of its hooves. I saw that place.
That place?
Yeah, that place. The beautiful tomorrow. It really is beautiful, Misha. Veronica would have loved it. That's why I brought you here.
You picked up a pebble from the ground and threw it into the stream.
My life is pretty much fucked up. Can't really get any worse. But you two still have a future. You need to get out of the forest. So yeah, this is one more gift for your wedding. From me. You have to believe in miracles. The forest and arsenic's tincture will run out someday.
You have to believe in miracles and arsenic's tincture will run out someday. Read that in a different phrasing. I noticed I do that a lot. I accidentally read things in a tone that's not appropriate, that's not intended, and it comes off differently. Don't mean for that to happen. When you're reading non-stop, it just sort of happens. Okay. This is much easier for me to read than Word and Economica because it's not nearly as much complicated English, and it's much nicer.
He smirked, scooped up a handful of water from the stream, and brought it to his lips. Well, shall we? For the beautiful tomorrow?
I followed suit and made a cautious sip. It was ordinary water. Clean, cold. I squirmed.
For the beautiful tomorrow.
I stood up. Let's go back. Nika will get worried. Yura nodded, then fished out a tin flask from his inner pocket, filled it with water from the stream, and handed it to me. Whoops, sorry. I clicked off the game. There we go. I'm sorry about that.
All the best, man. Hey, what do you think the beautiful tomorrow looks like?
I could immediately draw the right image in my mind. Everybody's happy there. No creatures anywhere. Only the good folk around. Nika and I will have a child there. Whether it be a boy or a girl, it doesn't matter. But I will make sure they grow up healthy, well-fed, and safe.
Whoa, I wish I had your imagination.
And what's it like to you? He stopped and looked around the thicket, a cunning smile on his face.
Was it only me? Or did the forest become brighter?
I stared at the rows of pines for a while until it finally hit me. All this time, we were traversing the forest without a flashlight. Is this because of that water?
That's right. This place should be pitch black right now.
Do you think the beautiful tomorrow is also this bright? He just shrugged while stomping his feet on the trail.
Probably. Otherwise we won't be able to see that beauty.
I wanted to skip and jump. All of my worries faded away, making a way for childish, innocent joy. Nika and I got married. We'll be on the deer's trail soon, and it's just one step away from the beautiful tomorrow. We're doing great.
Be quiet. They're probably already asleep.
The house fell into midnight silence. There were no traces of our celebration. I wonder, how much time did Arsenic and Nico spend to clean up everything? How long were we gone for? It felt like we've only been out a couple of hours. It was always hard to tell It was always hard to tell day from night in the forest. Yura gave me a pat on the shoulder and sneaked towards his room. I went toward the bedroom to my wife. As soon as I opened the door, Nika stood up and rushed to my side. Finally, you're back! Yura must have talked your ear off again, right? I pulled her close, inhaling the familiar scent of her hair. She's so pretty. You know, we're so lucky to have each other, after all. Things will be fine. You'll see. She giggled, pressing herself against my body. I know. You swore under that spruce, after all. I'm serious. I'll catch the deer, and our lives will change for the better. You say that like you're about to go hunting right now. And what if I am? For you, I'm ready to chase it into the forest all night. She pulled back, grabbed my hand, and gently dragged me towards the bed. The deer can wait. I can't. I smiled playfully, took off my sweater, and folded it on the chair. Come here. I'm going to take another sip of my Pepsi after a night of honey consummation, I suppose. Oh my goodness, I feel like I'm about to burp after taking that sip immediately. Okay. I'm not playing with you anymore, Arsenic. You say that every time, yet you always come back. I mean, I can't just give up like this. David brought a backgammon set from his village, and I couldn't wrap my head around that fact. Items were not essential for survival, didn't see much use in the forest, and games were an even rarer sight. I still remember the first time this old man showed me his backgammon set, and how proud he was the fact he carved it out himself. At the time, I thought he'd never be able to find an opponent. We need to kill time somehow. True that. Okay, we've been at this for long enough. There's work to be done. The amulet won't finish itself. Another round, maybe? Fine. Playing again. Hey, Pops, I'm shocked your fingers aren't full of splinters with the board in such a bad state. Shall I carve you a new one? Ah, you're finally out. What are you even doing cooped up in your room all this time? Making traps. I want to place more of them deeper into the forest. So, what about my offer? No, thank you. This is a precious memory. Speaking of traps, when are we going to check on them? Tomorrow. No need to rush. It's a dangerous time right now. We need to wait. We won't catch anything if we get eaten by a bear. Damn. Completely forgot to eat with all these traps. Is there anything left over? Nika's cooking something right now. Go ask her. Gotcha. He dragged his feet to the other side of the room, where sizzling could be heard. The wonderful aroma of fried meat slowly filled up the cabin. I was about to start drooling myself. Also hungry? Not really. Let's play. There we go, there's the burp. Sorry about that. I'm hoping the microphone is picking everything up. I'm speaking quieter than usual. Alright, you go first. I rolled the dice. A double on my first roll. A good start. I've been thinking. Are we doing the thing right? What do you mean? The traps. The deer are supposed to become our savior, and we're trying to harm it. If the legends are true, our traps won't be able to harm it. only hold it in place for a bit. And it's not like we have any other option. You're right on this one. We can't be sitting in the forest all the time. He heaved a deep sigh and rolled the dice. I used to always nag my mom to tell me a fairy tale about the deer. My favorite story was about a boy who wanted to find it so he and his family could go to the beautiful tomorrow. He went through hell and back, but still couldn't catch the deer.
What a sad story.
Well, that's not the end of it. Boy didn't give up, even when all his family disappeared. But despaired, and the deer showed itself to him. I glanced at the board. David had beaten me again. No matter what move I make, I lose. Arsenic also realized that and chuckled. After that story, I decided that I also want to catch the deer. And here I am, chasing it to this day.
I've always been amazed by this. How much willpower do you need to keep going for so long?
You were returned, diligently chewing on something. Fat glistened on his fingers. Why would I give up? My life will end eventually anyway. I can sit in the dark forest, but I can also chase the light. It's simple.
Yeah, we got lucky with meeting you. We got lucky with meeting you, Misha. I wouldn't have been able to endure these stories on my own.
Well, you look at this martyr. My stories are unbearable, huh? How come nobody told me about that when I came to your village? You included.
Yeah, I remember that day. You came like a hero of legends, a true adventurer. The village went nuts.
Okay, there is a lot of talks about villages, so maybe that's where I got the idea that there was a village. I wonder if there's still a village. Maybe.
We were barely able to send our guys to hunt. They all wanted to hear Arsenic's stories. How long did you live with us? 4 months?
Something along those lines.
Yeah, and then you came.
She shifted his gaze to me.
The village was abuzz again. Some lunatic was calling for people to follow him into the forest steppes to catch the deer. And Arsenic just agreed on the spot. That was the moment when I realized it's better to listen to Pops.
He tilted his head backwards, stared at the wooden ceiling.
We had no idea it would take this long. At least we got lucky with this house.
Luck has nothing to do with it. There's a lot of them in the forest. Their previous owners ventured too deep into the thicket, and there you go, free real estate. Dinner is ready.
Alright, I've eaten my fill, so I'll go deal with the trap. And you have your nice meal. The meat is amazing today. You're lucky to have a wife like her.
Go already. Yura sneaked into his room, and we went to the table. The smell was truly amazing. Everything's so nice and peaceful right now, but you can tell it's not going to last forever. I like how kind they're all being to each other. It's good. You're a magician, Veronica. I haven't eaten a hog this good in a long while. My plates became empty in a flash. Nico was truly a culinary genius. My wife, may she rest in peace, made a similar marinade from meat. She also added mineral water there, though. Arsenic sighed, looked down, and started scraping his fork against the plate aimlessly. It seemed like he couldn't see or hear anything around him anymore, deep in his own world. When Nika took away his empty plate, he didn't even notice it. Arsenic. Huh? He shuddered and raised his head. Are you okay? Pardon me. Yes, I think so. I've been thinking about Tanya more and more as of late. Is she better off on the other side? Is she happy out there? And what's most important, will I be happy without her when we eventually catch the deer? You're so beautiful, so young. You have a bright future. Maybe you'll even be able to live happy lives far away from the forest. And my Tanya hadn't even lived to see the deer up close. She ventured into the forest, and it took her. He reached into his pocket and fished out a small wooden object. It looked like some sort of human figure. If only I started earlier, maybe I would have made it in time. Maybe we would have been sitting here as 5 right now. By the way, how's the amulet turning out? He glanced at the little doll and sighed in dejection. Something is amiss, but I can't point my finger at what. I did everything right, but it won't even be able to scare off the smallest of imps in this state.
Don't worry, you'll think of something.
I sure hope so. I wish I could leave the forest with you guys at the very least. I'll see what the beautiful tomorrow looks like, just to tell my wife about it in the afterlife. I'm so jealous of you, Misha. Almost nobody is brave enough to start a family in these parts. The thought of falling in love just to immediately lose your significant other is too scary. But you weren't deterred. You're just like Tanya and I when we were young, fearless, madly in love. My Tanya was such a tomboy, nobody wanted to take her. Something didn't go her way, everyone around her was at risk. Have I told you how we met? So, I came to the village to settle down, saw Tanya and immediately took a liking to her. I didn't know how to strike up a conversation, though. I got myself comfortable and embraced Veronica. She put her head on my shoulder. We both loved listening to Arsenic's stories. Even though we often lost track of his thoughts. His hushed, silently quivering voice calmed us down and brought about a pleasant, warm feeling. Let's hope you two can make it. Take care of each other. When Yura and I are gone, you'll be the only people left in your world. He spat over his left shoulder 3 times and knocked on the wooden tabletop, then glanced at the clock and stood up from his chair. Oh my, look at the time. I've been talking too much again. Have a good night, you two. He dragged his feet towards his room, and Veronica spoke from my shoulder in a calm voice. We'll catch it, David Arsenovic. Good night. He turned around for a moment, flashed us a kind smile, and disappeared behind the bedroom door. We should also hit the sack. Hey. What? We will catch the deer, right? There was doubt in her voice. I immediately embraced her by the shoulders and looked her straight in the eye. Of course we will. Even Arsenic will have enough time to enjoy the beautiful tomorrow. And what if we don't? Do you remember how everyone in the village was running around the forest, looking for deer tracks? Year after year. Well, yeah, but we know for sure that the deer is somewhere around these parts. I yawned and got under the blanket. Nico snuggled up to me. I felt so happy when you agreed to go with me. I couldn't have made this decision without you, but now. I sighed. studying the jagged parts of the wooden ceiling. Now, at the very least, we have hope of getting out of this dump. You'll see, the deer will be in our hands very soon, and it'll take us to wherever we want. I thought the beautiful tomorrow was the same for everybody. Mom told me that everybody's happy there, and we all have our own idea of happiness. What would make you the happiest, for example? You. That's it? Well, she averted her gaze. A son, too. Can we have a son in the beautiful tomorrow? I smiled and gave her a soft kiss on the shoulder. Of course. What will we name him? Slava. All right. He will be Slava then. Nika hugged me and looked me in the eye. I can't believe the deer is really somewhere close, that our dream is about to become true. When we next wake up, our dream will be even closer. Really? Yeah. Sweet dreams, Nika. Good night. I think this is about where I'm going to end it now. I think now's a good time. So let me just try and navigate the... I will yeah, you know what, I'll just save over... I don't remember these top three, so at some point, obviously, we get to the river, to the stream zone with Veronica. I forgot how deep in the game that is. I'm going to override save 1, and that is going to be where we continue. Okay, cool. So yes, this is it's an indie game, obviously, but I remember just being very enthralled with the story. I do know at some point, upcoming, we will encounter some creatures in the forest. Whether there are choices to make, I don't exactly recall, because some of my favorite visual novels are the ones in which you make decisions in the game, and like you're actually able to influence the outcome. So far, I don't recall if there is actually any choices. I think there might have been a couple, but yeah, it's slowly coming back to me, and I do remember enjoying the story. As I said, I don't remember finishing it, so if the deer is ever caught, well, we'll see. But yeah, simple premise thus far. 4 people trapped in the forest. They have a house, and they need to survive and catch this infamous fairy deer. And there are villages around of other people who are looking to do the same. So yeah, it's I am enjoying it thus far, and I hope you guys are as well. I was curious and tempted to do more, to achieve more outcomes in Slay the Princess, but I think since I found like a version of the main ending, with like getting 5 or 6 of the endings for that game to get that main ending, I was pretty happy with the outcome. I didn't really want to like continue that if I didn't have to. I think it was good, and surprisingly, at least at the time I'm recording this, the first episode of Slay the Princess did very well. So thank you. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys will give Fairy Deer the time of day as well. I hope this is also enjoyable for you all. But yes, that's all from me for now. Thank you very much for tuning in. Don't forget to check the link in the description and either pre-order or just keep an eye out for a copy of my book, The Protector Volume 1. I need to start getting around to recording the audiobook again. I've been tempted to just pay someone to do the narration instead of me, If you've enjoyed my narrating voice thus far with these visual novels, let me know. I've done something a little bit different with each one, so yeah, who knows? I mean, it's one of those things I need to do, and probably will take care of in the holidays, honestly. But yeah, we'll see how all that goes. Thank you guys. See you in the next one. Catch you later.